What's going on, guys? It's the Money Talk Show with Dane, where we talk about all sorts of interesting topics here relating to money, specifically real estate and crypto. We are doing our best to bridge the two communities, to bridge entrepreneurs, real estate investors, and the crypto world, because we feel like the two meet just absolutely perfectly. In fact, I think we'll illustrate that really nicely on the show today with our guests that we have. We have some excellent guests today. They've both been on our show before. We'll introduce them here in a moment. We wanted to welcome you guys. Pumped to have everybody here this morning. Corey, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, Crypto Millionaires with Corey Geary here, and I'm just super excited to be on this wealth-building journey with all of you guys, where we're going to be using crypto as a wealth creation tool and using real estate as a wealth preservation tool. And like you said earlier, Dean, I think this show is going to really show how we can do this. We have, some amazing guests today. We got, Hex OG, Hex Ray Vision in the house, who's absolutely just blown up the crypto space in the last couple of years. And then we got our good friend Cuthberto, who's just a beast of an operator when it comes to real estate, commercial, multifamily, and everything alike. It's just going to be a fun show. So I'm excited to hear the commentary today. I'll be taking notes myself just because I'll be learning a lot from both of these two amazing gentlemen that we have. So thank you so much, both of you guys, for being here today.
No, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So let me start the show today with a framework. And as you guys are tuning in this morning, those of you that are watching, we want your commentary as well. We hope to be able to get to a lot of the questions. But the framework that we wanted to give to the show today is we'll have Cuthberto, who is our resident real estate expert, a genius operator, raised over $100 million during his career as a real estate investor. We're going to have him go through either a current deal he has, one that he's currently raising money for, or if he wants to go through one previous that he's already done, that's fine. We'll have him take us through that. And we'll have Hexray here that's already done some digging into the real estate realm, trying to figure out how to diversify, had some experiences already, and we'll use some of his expertise to be able to see how we in general, or how you guys that are watching, how it may make sense for you to consider real estate when it's time to take profits in crypto. So with that, Berto, go ahead and give us just a brief intro to you. Then Hexray, give us a brief intro to you, kind of what you're working on today. And then Berto, we'll have you kind of walk us through a deal.
Cool. I appreciate you guys. Well, like Corey and Dane said, my name is Cuthberto Ramos. I have been a full-time real estate operator for 23 years now. The tooth is long and the knees are weak in the space. Like you mentioned, I had raised over 100 million in real estate acquisition deals. And over this last week, I just raised another $24 million for the $30 million raise that I'm at. So again, I mean, it's all fair and dandy for the skill ways of being, but I like to consider myself more of a real estate philosopher than actually a just grinder. So that's me. And when it's my turn, I'll do my best to paint a picture for you guys.
Take it away, Hexray. Give us a little background on you for those that may not be familiar with you.
Oh, you're on mute, brother.
There we go. Sorry about that. No, I was going to say I started out pretty young. I got married really young, started having kids. And the thing about kids is they require food and shelter and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
they're like pets, but way more demanding. And so from a young, I just started grinding as a kid. I was unfit for most of the jobs I had, fired, quit from tons of jobs, hated being told what to do. So I started jumping down the rabbit hole, Robert Kiyosaki, and all the self-help stuff, tried MLMs, tried trading, tried Forex, metals, you name it. I've tried it all. And when I got to the end of the rabbit hole, including real estate, you either had to put up sacrifice your entire life to grind and get the real estate ball rolling, or you had to have a pile of cash. And I was still bouncing from job to job, so I didn't make that leap into sacrificing time into it. But when crypto came along, I was driving truck. And so back in 2014, 2015, I had 10 hours behind the steering wheel every day, sometimes more. And so I would just obsess and listen to every podcast and YouTube channel I could about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the other thousands of horrible coins that have come and gone since. And I lost tons and tons of money. I gambled, because we're all degenerate gamblers in crypto. And eventually I realized that Bitcoin was going to be around for a long time. So I became a Bitcoin maxi. And it was there that I found Richard Hart, because Richard Hart was the one naming the tops and bottoms. He was calling things really correctly, and he was just dropping truth. And so I was lucky enough to be following him before Hex came out. And then when Hex came out, I was able to just put all my eggs in that basket and retire a few years ago from truck driving, thanks to Hex. So I just try to take those 8 years of pain and losing money. I try to ball it up into as short as I can. I try to share that with people.
And in fact, before we have Berto go into a deal, talk to us, Hexray, a little bit about your experience. We don't necessarily need to name names, but talk to us a little bit about your some of the trials that you've had in trying to figure out how to diversify into real estate.
Right. Well, the problem with making a bunch of money with crypto and then bringing it into the real world is that it's very noticeable. And so when you move tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars into a bank, people ask questions, and the government is sitting there with their hands open and they're ready to take it all. So when I retired, I thought that was it. But then I started a whole part-time job learning about tax strategies, accountants, where to put your money so that the government's not just going to siphon it right out of your hands. And so we went to a real estate conference in Dallas this year, and it was very clear that the people there were hungry for results, and it was very, very much pay to play, right? They're like, hey, join our mastermind group. You can hang out with these celebrities and rich people. And it's like, I don't give a shit about celebrities. I'm not going to sip champagne in Aspen next to a billionaire. I give a shit less. I want to know where my money is not going to get blown, where my money, where I'm not going to lose money, and where I'm going to get my tax advantages. And most of all, thanks to Hex, I want cash flow. Cash flow is what I care about. But then again, when you're starting out, and again, I'm lazy, so I don't want to fix toilets. I don't want to go through 5 management companies. I just want to park the money somewhere I know it's going to work, and then come back later. So we went in with the syndicates. So if you have enough money, you can just throw money into a syndicate. And if you're lucky, they're good people. They'll do a good job of the property flip or whatever they're trying to do. And then you'll get that money back in 3 to 5 years, right? So it's not exactly cash flow. It did come with a lot of tax advantages. We saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes this year, just simply by doing that and using the loophole of being a real estate professional. My wife is a real estate agent, so we were able to use that loophole and count all of the losses on our K1 towards our active income, which that might be Greek to a lot of people, but you guys know where we're going to go with that. But now I'm to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to see that money I think they're going to give us like $1,000 a year or something back in the meantime while they're waiting to, flip or refinance or whatever. And so it's like, that's not great. That's you can't live on $1,000 a year, right? So now I'm like, how do I get into something that's cash flow? And I want that check in my mailbox every month, even if it's $50 to start. I need something coming in, and then I obviously, you get those tax advantages through real estate.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm looking for.
Unfortunately, those kind of events that you go to, 99% of the people in the room don't have money. They're there because they need the hoorah. They're professional, go-to type people. Like that's all they do is go to events over and over and over again to get the motivation. You're kind of in the wrong room, in my opinion, with an event like that. You're there. You've kind of made yourself successful in a way with crypto, and now you're looking to diversify a little bit. And yeah, so it's interesting how your story plays out there.
Yeah. Well, let me say there's a really good parallel between crypto and real estate as far as meetups, because we did make some very, very valuable connections and network with some people that did know what they were doing, and they've been taking us under their wing and teaching us stuff as we've been going along. So they've been onboarding us to some of their stuff. So it was worth going just to meet a few people, just to network. And if you can make it to a Hex event or a crypto event, it'll truly change your life. You'll meet people and create relationships that will help you in your crypto journey. It'll speed it up exponentially, your learning curve, by making friends.
It's the same with real estate too.
Yeah.
And that's why we do join. Like, I know you like, well, I don't care about sipping champagne with a billionaire, but that is why we do join masterminds, and we do pay the money to be around those. Because me and Dane have paid a lot of money for masterminds. I mean, I've paid up to $40,000 to be in groups with people like that, so that way I can get those opportunities put on the table for me to take advantage of. And it's just being around. There's an old saying your net worth is the 5 closest of your friends. Well, that's very true. It really is. And so you want to be surrounded with people, like-minded people. I tell everyone all the time, real estate saved my life because it's changed me mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially. And that is because I was in rooms like that. And I paid to be in those rooms initially like that. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of value in meeting people.
Dane, you're on mute.
Face to face.
Thank you. No, that was great, Hexray. So, Berto, you've got a little bit of a framework and some experience here to be able to kind of guide our conversation. So, with that, yeah, talk us through a deal. Talk us through when you came on before. You mentioned a few different structures. So, yeah, let's see what that looks like.
I appreciate you guys. And literally, guys, what Hex said, the way he stated it, and I followed it word for word. Why? Because the people I sit down with on a daily basis are coming just like him. They're really feeling this. And if I may, Dane and Corey, I'm probably going to switch it up. I'm going to explain a little bit of the deal, but I think I'm actually going to explain in a higher level what it is that Hex is talking about, because Hex is the perfect person to describe when you sit down what is the actual objective. But the person you're sitting with on the across Hex has to know what it is I'm about to say. That's what I believe. So, fellas and the entire audience, when we met, how many weeks? Maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, on the 3rd of March, I came on. I had just begun a $30 million raise on a large volume of holdings, of real estate holdings. This is a cash flow vehicle, because that's really what I focus on. I focus on cash flow producing vehicles, and from that point, from the 3rd on to today, I have already raised 24 million of that 30 million. And the truth is, it's not because I'm some great presenter. It's the deals speak for themselves. There's a rule in real estate that says money chases good deals, bad deals chase money, right? So when you have a good deal, the money alone, especially if I know and I understand to a level of degree of what it is that Hex is talking about, because he mentioned earlier, one of the things you guys didn't catch is the problem when you make money. And he said the problem when you make money in real estate. Let me tell you something. Deploying capital is a problem. It's a good problem to have, but nonetheless, it's a problem, right? So when you got capital to deploy, you got to make sure that you're understanding what it is that you're doing, and the person you're talking to, it knows what they're doing. So in my world, I have one theory. It's just my theory. It says investors, after they've made their capital pops through the use of their skills, and I'll explain that right now. Through the use of their skills, the thing that matters is it's not the return on capital that matters. It's the return of capital that matters. He wants his money back. He wants his money back. And he mentioned right now, I don't care if it's $50 a month. That's kind of saying that the return of his money matters more. And that's what Corey said earlier. It's a preservation asset. It's called capital protection. When you invest in an asset like real estate, it is a tangible. You can walk to the building and touch it. It's not a file in your cabinet. It is a legitimate asset. So by the very nature of real estate, it is a capital protection tool. And it is an amazing tax strategy tool, but I'm going to leave that a little bit. I'm going to leave that a little bit down. So please just understand that what I just said is only in relationship to what Hex was saying. It's like, if he's sitting down with me, I have to know what I just said, or else I am going to strike out and miss on seeing if I can help him solve what it is he really wants. If I'm sitting here telling him that real estate is going to give him crypto returns, I'm full of shit, right? I'm full of shit. I got to be honest with him, and I have to show him how his capital is protected, how I'm the best operator to manage this shit, and how I have a track record to giving everybody back their money intact and multiplied. That's it. That's it. The rest of that due diligence comes through the conversation. And I always say this to who I present with. Only time will tell you if I'm full of shit. Only time. Because you can't be out of integrity and think that you can last at all. So I do my best to be as transparent as possible, but I'm about to describe something to you guys. I don't know if you guys are ready for what I'm about to tell you. I don't know if you guys are really ready for the reality of real estate. All right. Because real estate, like Hex said, and Corey said, Corey, Dane, and I have spent probably $1 million combined in masterminds and being in those rooms, right? We've spent a shit ton of money. And and Corey said something very important. That room doesn't know what the hell they're doing. And it's not evil. It's not a diss. But even people who have years in real estate don't know what I'm about to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, real estate is not a passive income producing vehicle. I know this sucks.
Amen.
I'm sorry. It is not
Thank you.
producing vehicle. It is a growth asset. But I'm about to explain to you, like, but how is that not? And I told you guys, this is high level. This is getting a PhD with a PhD level shit I'm about to tell you, right? The real estate is a premium producing asset. Premium, like an insurance company. And if you know anything about an insurance float, which is I receive premiums, I know I'm going to pay out eventually. You see, the real wealth is created through the tax strategies of real estate. Yes, the passive is amazing, right? But the people who take the passive income are three: skill level individuals like your asset and property managers, right? The lenders and the preferred equity holders, which is the equity people who are guaranteed a return regardless of the performance of the asset. Those are the three key people who take, and the remainder, guess what happens to the remainder, guys? If you truly want to make the most amount of money in real estate, after 5 or 10 years of a hold, you got to put all that money back, because you always want to sell at 100 to 100% of that market, regardless of where it's at, guys. You always want to sell at the height of a market. Always. Now you're like, but Cuthberto, this market is not appreciating. It's going to drop. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. As long as I sell at its peak, I will exchange into something with higher. So I will sell at 100% of whatever the market is, and I'll exchange into something at 60 cents on the dollar and kill that upside. I know this, what I'm saying is a little bit confrontational, but if I understand that for Hex, when I'm sitting down with him, I have a clearer idea of being transparent. I'm not blowing smoke up his ass and telling him how great this is. Real estate is still my vehicle of choice. But if I understand that this is not a cash flow producing asset, however, the money that I raise, I give preferred. That means they do get cash flow regardless, right? They get cash flow regardless of the performance. Why? Because it's like debt, right? But let me kind of bring it down to the level of what it is I'm trying to explain here. Because it's a premium producing asset, like an insurance. I'm only using these words as a metaphor because we have to bring the money back to reset what we call the capital expenditure cycle. We're not talking about regular maintenance. We're talking about the big ticket items. When you reset like the major items of a property before sale, you will always get top dollar, and you will always make more money during that. And remember, guys, real estate provides 4 ways of creating wealth. 4 ways. Number 1 is what Hex said. It's a tax strategy. Depreciation is a beautiful thing, right? I have been in California making over millions of dollars a year, and I have yet to pay a dime of taxes legally. Try to do the math.
Oh, it's a big deal.
Yeah, legally. This is why Trump pays $700.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So that's 1. Number 2 is the cash flow, but remember the cash flow in a debt position or in a preferred position only. The third is the principal reduction that your tenants pay down on the mortgage. That equity becomes yours. And number 5 is through strategic appreciation. Right? Now, people think appreciation is just inflationary. No, guys, there are 5 types of appreciation. And if you don't know them, not only will you strike out, you will look silly swinging and missing. Number 1 and number 2 are the ones you kind of want to stay away from in real estate. These 2 things make you money in other sectors. Number 1 is inflationary, just keeping up with inflation, right? The problem is that if you don't keep up with inflation, you lose buying power. And that's as bad as the IRS and the government going into your bank account, right? Valuing your wealth. Number 2 is speculation. In real estate speculation, you can still make money. What do you do when you develop 500 homes? You're speculating that they will be worth X. Listen, in stocks, crypto, and other things, speculation is a great thing. You can learn underwriting and risk analysis towards that. But in real estate, you don't really want those 2 to be your only forces of appreciation. You want to focus on the next 3. The first one of the 3 is you buy at a discount. That's it. That's instant appreciation. You control that through your negotiations. People always say this: you make money when you buy, not when you sell. That's true only in the sense that you can control buying at a discount. It's worth $5 million, you bought it for $4 million. Voila. The second one of the 3 is through force appreciation, improvements, construction, anything that you put into it that you know how to create strategic value. I put in $10,000 to get a $50,000 increase in price. You control that too. And the third and final is through the use of economical forces, right? You understand the general and the master plan of what's going on in the city. You have an idea that a new university is coming. You understand that the airport is going to create into an international port of customs. You understand that the biggest Amazon or any of the e-warehouses are coming. It's going to bring you 500 to 600, jobs instantly in your block. Things like that. You use those three, and you will absolutely hit it out of the ballpark. So again, guys, I know that Dane promised that I will describe a deal. I have a deal that I'm willing to discuss with anybody, and I did want to tell Dane probably me presenting would be the most boring shit in the world. I think the reality is if you guys really want to talk about it, I think it's wiser to always have a one-on-one, because your questions are more important individually, because Hex is in one level, right? And somebody else could be in another level. And I can say a sentence with 10 words, Hex is going to listen to it with a different ear. So if I didn't warn them about the fact that I was going to go into this level, but this is the kind of shit that the guys you sit in front of have to know. If they don't know this, then all you are to them is a lender. That's all you are to them. And a lender, the difference between a lender and an equity partner is that the lender doesn't benefit from any of the upside. They just have the security of their lien, and they just want their money back intact. But if you partner with a strategic operator, who understands these things. And like I said, the next $6 million of the $30 million raise are probably going to take me a little bit longer because I'm going to be dealing with, listen, the 24 million that I raised out of the 30 was done with 2 people, just 2 people. A $20 million with one guy, $4 million with the other. And the truth is that the one guy who gave me the 4 really wanted to be in the 20 as well. Why? Because these guys are already uber successful. Both of them worth well over 100 million themselves. And the front end of the deals, you know, the group unfortunately is going to miss out on that big portion. But these guys are not in it for any cash flow. These guys want the growth part of the assets, right? So that's why they said just give it all to me. And then the other 6 million, all of the other 6 million is cash flow. Something like what Hex said he's looking for. Hey, this is what you're going to get guaranteed monthly, guaranteed. And these are brand new construction properties, like literally ground up multifamily. That means we don't have to put a dime into them for the next 10 years. There's going to be no ACs, no water heaters, no roof, no plumbing, no foundational structure, windows, nothing, right? And in this market, nothing is going to retain its value more than high density multifamily. Let the shit tank. Oh, but the dollar's going to tank. Then fucking pay me in crypto as long as you pay your rent. I don't care. Oh, when in crypto, then pay me in oranges. I don't care what the commodity is. Pay rent. Right? And that's really
rent is due.
Yeah, rent is due. But I know I'm saying about this. But I want you to know that that this is really this conversation was really designed for you because it's very, very high level. And I believe that is the highest value I can bring. I have to bring something to you that's far more high level. And what I just said about the truth that real estate is not a passive income producing asset. It is a premium producing asset that focuses most of their returns on growth. However, if you slot yourself into the skilled positions, right, of the people who do take, just like in an insurance, a premium comes in, half of it goes to the operation, right? Half of it goes to the CEO, the underwriters, blah, blah, blah. And the other half has to be saved because it's eventually going to pay out. What do? They reinvest that money to let it grow, and then they pay it out. Real estate holdings, multifamily, I'm talking about holdings, is the same way. Because the true money that you really want to make is at sale. And you want to be at the best position. So it's got to be managed right to get into the most efficient position at sale. And that's what we do. Because I have exchanges, guys. That means I have held something for a long time, sold it, exchanged, held that one for a long time, and I've exchanged that. I have held real estate for a really long time. I can tell you what it's going to look like year 7 on a Wednesday. All right. And that's just because I've woken up every day and done it for 23 years. Not because I'm some genius. 99% of you guys are probably far more skilled than I am than some stuff. I'm just far more strategic. So I'll leave it with that, guys. If you guys are interested in cash flowing your actual asset, you guys missed out on the big home run side of the deals, but those are holding no cash flow. But the next 6 million that I am raising is strictly cash flow for the investors. And you get the upside of the equity, of the principal reduction, and the tax benefit. Without that, I wouldn't do it. If you guys just want cash flow, go invest in lending notes if all you want is cash flow. But if you want the perks of real estate, let me know if you guys are interested. Fellas, that's all I got.
That was money. That was great.
It was money. I smashed the likes and subscribe if you're new here.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I've got a number of questions. Do you have, if there's anything you want to cover, I want to make sure that you have the platform and are able to ask what you may want to, Hex-Ray. So I'll give it to you if you have any specifics, or I'll go ahead and dive in.
No, this is really good. I like the overview and the philosophy of the real estate, because if you don't have that first, then it's hard to decide what applies to you, what doesn't apply to you, right? So another thing that I find interesting is if someone thinks that you have a way to actually help them with crypto, then they're willing to go over that learning curve with you. But if you don't have the results, and you can't, if they don't believe you can get them their results, they're not going to spend the time and effort it takes to learn the jargon, get on, figure out the stuff on their computer, save their passwords, all that crap. It's not worth it to them. They've got lives to live. And it seems like Berto's gone through the same thing, where I'm sure a lot of people have come to him in his life, seen his success and his results, and said, "Hey, teach me what's going on." And but then they don't want to put in the legwork. They just want to hand him money and have him make it money for him. Does that happen to you, Berto?
Well, it happens a lot. I'm not a coach nor or provide any coaching, but I have consulted with high level operators who have reached that point where they're like, you know what, I'm swinging and missing. I'm not getting it. And then I take the time to take them under my wing so they can implement the same asset management skill. But the majority of my investors are really high net worth individuals who are like, just here's my money, and just be a steward of my money, take care of it, right? And be in integrity. And I think that is now, when you're playing, that's a personal game now. And I mentioned this, Hex, in the last interview, right? Which is and we talked about integrity and so forth. And I did mention something in the effect that you have to be fully in integrity to take care of people's money. And people will know if you're full of shit. And I mentioned that I'm not a gambler. And not because I'm not a gambler, because I think it's sinful. My mother was a gambler. I saw what it does. And I brought that it shows with my investors that I don't gamble. I didn't know that. That's one of those benefits that life taught me that I brought in. I don't think I've ever gambled more than $500 in total in my life in Vegas, ever. And that's not, and again, guys, I'm not, if you gamble for fun, great. I don't even play fantasy football. I don't even do the $1 bets with my friend to know if this guy's going to eat shit on that bite. I don't even do that. But it's only, and that has helped me. So I'm only answering the question that's in a way that why people who just want to bring me money and back away do. I project that, and my results and the references and the past client successes when they want to interview past clients, it brings that type of level of comfort to them. So it's been the way God has given me that path. But for my friends like you guys, the people who know business, like I met Dane and Corey in a mastermind, and there's some people in that mastermind who are high level operators who have come to me like the way you said, dude, show me how to do this. And because I'm not a coach, because I don't offer a coaching program, I more take it on like a consultant, and I literally implement my asset management system into their operation. I don't make them veer away from anything. I just implement, which is what I believe to be the key to my success, which is asset management.
Cool. Yeah, and the thing I also see parallels is you're practicing this delayed gratification, right? You're putting all this work and effort into appreciating, getting the premium and something that's really valuable. And instead of, killing the golden goose, you're rolling that into more geese, we'll say, right? And the thing that changes crypto from gambling to more of an investing is delayed gratification. It's rolling through a couple of those 4-year cycles and learning how to take profit and weather the next storm, right? So, and I mean, what would you say is the time cycle in real estate, guys?
Take that one, Berto. Yeah, what's your experience with people investing with you in your deals?
And you mean on the cycle question, or like, because I've seen 3 cycles, right? I'll explain it like this. Right?
Yeah, talk about cycles and talk about, deals. Like, how long do you typically plan to stay in a deal before you're looking to trade it up and do that type of stuff?
Okay. The first one on the cycle, right? So if we look at a cycle like a clock, 12 being the height of a market, 6 o'clock being the lowest of a market, right? I'm just going to use an example of 10 years, even though it's not 10 years. I'm just going to use an example of 10 years. I think it's 12, but it could also be 8. Years before, cycles used to almost depend on presidential elections, at least before. Not anymore, but I'm going to explain something right now, right? So a cycle from 6 o'clock, the lowest, all the way to 12 can take 7 to 9 years. And it can drop from 12 to 6 within a year and a half, maybe 2. So it's not linear. It doesn't happen at the same time. There has to be telltale signs of a cycle from, let's say, 9 to 12 that you have to pay attention to cover the downside. These telltales are communicating to you. This is where the old, sell when people are greedy, buy when people are whatever, right?
One of my favorite sayings.
You have to know that one telltale where everybody's on the fear of missing out part of it. There's telltales, and I'll share with everybody a risk mitigation table, because that's really what matters. In fact, I think my first question when I asked Dave and Corey about crypto was, I want to learn the cycle, right? Because I'm a cycle guy. So if I tell you that there is a 10-year cycle, I'd be inaccurate, because the government has learned to intervene and manipulate. I pulled all my money out and investors' money in 2019 because all the signs said it was going to go bad. I didn't predict that COVID was going to happen, but I am a real estate guy, and I saw 2019 being a problem, a real problem. And I saw that 2020 was going to be it. But instead, it turned into be a great bull market for 2 years, from 20 to 22 in real estate. However, I benefited from every single thing. And I benefited from inflation while other people didn't. So that is, the cycle can be an average of 10 years, but I believe it can be 8 or 12. But guys, knowing the year of the cycle is not what matters. What matters to me is learning how to do your telltales from 9 to 12, because pulling money out of any investment takes time. Pulling money out of any investment takes time. So you got to be able, if I say it's going to take me a year and a half to pull my money out of real estate so I don't get affected, I have to know what the telltales are for a year and a half. I got to know that affordability is going out of whack. I got to know that rates are beginning to creep. I got to know all these things that I know are nothing more than the warning sign of it coming. You don't want to react once it tips over from 12 to 6. You want to be ready. So I just want to say this. You can make money at any moment and any market. It really doesn't matter. You just got to know, like in football, guys, you got to know when it's time to play defense. And just because you're playing defense does not mean that you are conservative, like playing prevent defense, right? Like that, which is the most conservative. You get balled out. Or you can be aggressive on defense and blitz. But right now, since we're from 12 to 6, we're on that path. It is time to take up a defensive position. When it was from 6-12, you better put 40 on that mofo. All right. And then when it's time to play defense, you pin back and blitz. So just know that the strategies of any point of the market, it isn't like grab your bags and leave. It's okay, switch it up. Now let me put my defensive unit out there and let me make sure that I'm still out there making it. So the power of the cycle is understanding where to make money and how to make money at every time of the clock.
Yes.
But you also got to prepare. So that's my take on cycle. Now, the holding periods that I have with my investors, I like to hold for 10 years, but I like to tell my investors to be in with me for 5. Some stay for the 10, right? Stay for 5 because I believe a property has at least one good refi in it. It has at least one good refi, so why get rid of it? There is an ABC, guys, an ABC that we use. It's simple. It's very simple. It's a grade. But there's 3 grades, right? There is the property, the physical nature of the property. How old is it? Like, Do I have to replace the roof soon? That's the property. There's an ABC grade to it. There's the location, right? An ABC of a location. Is it in a great area? Is it in a shitty area? Am I going to get shot trying to go collect rent? Right? Like I don't want you guys investing in stuff like that. And
I've had properties like that.
Yeah,
Yep, I have to.
I'm like, why did I do this? And then the third and last one is the tenant quality. Guys, just because you have a doctor with a 780 FICO doesn't mean he's an A-class tenant for you. Why is that? Because that doctor is going to end up leaving your place very soon when he can go buy a house, right? So I'm just throwing that out there just to expand your mind that a tenant quality changes depending on the strategy and the investment plan that you have. So this is it. I like to 1031 exchange, which is the greatest wealth protection tool in real estate outside of depreciation. Depreciation is when you hold, 1031 is when you sell. The 1031 exchange for me, I have to upgrade on 2 of the 3. I have to upgrade. If I'm at CCA, I'm upgrading at least to a B on the next 2 Cs. That's why I would do it. However, I don't want to just sell in 5 years. That's always going to keep me on the not making money tip. Now, this is my disclaimer. When I mentioned real estate is not a passive income creating asset, it's only for 3 reasons, guys. It's only for the way real estate is valued, the way real estate is transferred and managed, and finally, the estimated holding period that most people want to hold, which is 5 years. Those are the 3 reasons why I say that it's not an income producing asset. But if you truly want to make income in real estate passively, you have to hold it for more than 5 years, dude. You have to. And you have to have done a couple of things. You have to have bought right, you force the appreciation correctly, and make sure that you're able to increase rents properly through maintaining a great asset and finding quality tenants. Like that has to still work. But because everybody always wants to hold for 5 years is what guarantees you that you won't be making any income. So I like to hold a property for a minimum of 10 years, right? Because I believe there's always a good refi in one property, whether it's to pull money out tax-free and give it. Remember, guys, you could take money out tax-free. That's not income. But I just want to say that my experience is most people want to hold for 5 years because that's what they're comfortable for. They are very aware that I like to hold for 10, but I don't hold them to it. But I believe that after 10 years is when you actually start thinking about upgrading the asset and nothing. This is why people buy these brand new properties and you think they're not making any money. You're thinking about it like if you were to buy that. You're like, it's only a 3 or a 4 cap. That makes no money. No, that old man sold his old apartment complex that he bought for $1 million and was only $500,000 into it. Now he's buying a $6 million building with that $500,000. Do that, right? That's the clever strategy of real estate. But again, you go to these seminars, you go to these things, and people are focusing on the wrong thing. And Corey, Dane, and me have a lot of years in this, and we've been chasing the wrong dragon. Right? We thought that the income was in real estate, the passive income, right? We still make passive income, but it was not the passive income we thought. The true people who make passive income are preferred investors.
Yeah.
They get preferred return. That's what I offer my investors, the preferred return. I'm about to leave $1 million in one of the deals and not expect to get a dime for 6-7 years. I don't care because I already have 300-400 units that produce me income. I don't need the income. However, this is an important and a confrontation. I'm hitting everybody with a bat in the face. I know it. I had one right here. That's why ask me how I know. I'm only explaining this, guys, so you guys could at least be transparent with yourselves in your quest. But it all boils down to 2 things, and it started before I even started rambling, guys. It started with Corey saying it's a preservation tool, and Hex describing his needs of it being a problem to deploy, but also recognizing that he wants some cash flow and he wants to get into an opportunity. It's as elementary as those three elements, but it's as complicated as an explanation that I gave, because you have to know to the lowest levels of a degree how to solve those three issues.
That was great. That was really good.
Beautiful.
Let's go to some of the comments. We got a number of people that have tuned in today. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We try to do our best to bring excellent guests on the show like Berto and like Hexray Vision to try to give you guys perspective and prepare you for the next couple of years, especially as crypto, as we see the next bull run over the next 2 years. If you don't have a plan in place before you're taking profits, you know what to do with the profits, you're going to be left giving a lot of that money to the government. And we want to help you do things legally and in a smart way to protect yourself.
That's why it's good to have friends like Cuthberto.
Yes, absolutely. Randy's on. What's up, Randy?
What's
if you guys
up,
haven't
Randy?
seen Randy's show, go check out Randy. Randy's great. Randy is in Twitter jail right now, but he made a backup account, so that's good to
Hashtag free Randy. Let's go.
That's right, dude. Jeez.
Gen Hex is on. What's up, Gen Hex? Red Squirrel. If you guys didn't see yesterday's show, Red Squirrel is awesome. He shared a bunch of different opportunities with Tetra, how you can automate your DeFi. That was an excellent show. Go check that one out.
Phenomenal, guys. Look into it. Watch our show yesterday. I'm going to be participating for sure.
Yep. Juan's one of our good real estate and crypto buddies. Juan is an expert at negotiating real estate deals, and he says it here: negotiation is my superpower. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's on the number 3 of the appreciations.
Right.
Yep.
I had a discount negotiation.
Gotta buy deep. I mean, that's how I became such a good wholesaler and created a very massive wholesale operation. You know, millions of dollars a year was just negotiations on deals and buying deep and then turning them over and selling to investors. You have to buy deep to be a wholesaler.
Absolutely. Corey's on. What's up, Corey?
What up, my man?
Captain. Skipped you. Corey's on. Appreciate Corey being on. Great question here. Berto, why don't you take this? If your area is expensive, how would you go about buying in a cheaper state? Or I would add, would you even buy in a cheaper state? How would you approach that?
You get what you pay for, right? Lumber costs the same everywhere, right? So listen, I'm in California, so I'm kind of biased in the sense, right? Like we're pretty much undisputed when it comes to appreciation. So that is very different.
So are you guys, so good question, Berto. Are you guys, so you're in one of the most expensive markets in the United States. Are you guys actively buying in California?
We buy in California. We buy in Austin, Texas, San Antonio, I'm sorry. We buy in Charlotte, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. We're looking at Orlando, San Diego in California. Now we have a lot from the Bay Area down. I started with the cheap properties again because I thought that was you make the most money in the cheap properties. But again, remember the ABCs? You start, you know, if I'm an exchange, I don't want to exchange into a cheaper property. But cheaper properties have their place, man. They work. So don't look at it necessarily as that it's cheap. So you may want to replace that word more on the affordability or more on a way to bring in a certain amount of capital. But I'll share with you a simple rule, right? A simple rule. If it's cheaper, the thing about cheaper or more affordable, try your best. This is a rule of thumb. Try your best to keep it at proximity for yourself. Keep it closer to you than anything else, because turnover, all the money that you made, if it's cheaper, watch, check this out. If it's cheaper, right? And then when they leave, all the money that you made has to go back to refurbish that unit to go back. Now, this is if you want to hold. This is if you want to hold. However, if you go to a deeper market, now this is what I've done. I have sold 50-unit apartment complex for $7.5 million in a C-class area, and I exchanged it into an A-class $7.5 million deal with only 17 units.
Yep.
Right? Now you'd be like, oh my God, if one person no, like that's not, now you're right, but I'm an operator and I know how to take care of that. But what I'm getting at is that how more of efficient is it for me? Because it's I remember I told Dane this is like, real estate, to me, it's not about the number of units anymore. I don't brag at all about the number of units I have. I brag about volume.
I love that.
Volume matters to me. That's it. Like I sold it for the same dollar amount, 7.5, exchanged into 17 units of the same, not only dollar amount, the same gross rent amount.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's what matters to me. Why? Because the compounding effect of volume knocks it out of the ballpark. Think about appreciation in Mississippi at $150,000 home, increasing 20%. Great for you. I'd rather be holding like I do now, $70 million of real estate and let that bitch appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Talk about, I think that's an interesting deal. Why did you do that exchange from your 50 units to the, I think you said 17 or so? What was it? You talked about some of the specifics, but why? I think this question is really freaking important because a lot of people want to say, let's go out to the Midwest. The cash flow is way better out there. But you're saying it sounds like something very different. Why did you make the exchange in that deal?
Well, it was very similar to the reality that real estate is not a passive income producing asset. It's that less expensive and more units isn't always better.
Yeah.
Right. It's remember I said that I have an ABC. I said I am going to move out of I went to A on all three of those levels. I went to A on the location. Because obviously you go to get 17 units, you got to go to a greater location. The B was a brand new building that we built. And then it was the highest quality tenant who can afford this, right? So it was strategic. It was strategic, and my management team cut in half. 50 people, 50 families to deal with in a building requires on the site staff. This, that, and that kills overhead, right? And you're dealing with 50 more people, 50 more families, 50 more issues. Life happens. So to me, because my intention is to have a peaceful life, I like to be playing golf or be at the gym. And while I'm there, I'm making money. I'm still addicted to the hustle. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, man. Just like Hex said, man, I was in this, I was in that. Like I'm still that. So I can't really just sit still, but peace, tranquility is my key. And that's one of the reasons we did it. So to answer the question, brother, I do not want to unmotivate you from doing what you got to do, man, because I've done crazier shit. Go to town, dude. Learn, fail, whatever it is you got to do. I will never be one to veer you away from anything. Go to town, because sometimes you have to learn it yourself. You have 4 experts right here, and we can kick the deepest knowledge, and you still ain't gonna listen to us. Sometimes you still got to do it yourself. So go to town if you want to go to a cheaper. Just the only real gem that I can drop for you is keep it close. Don't go to the Midwest if you're in New York City. That's a long flight, right? If you're going to go to a cheap area, make sure it's a driving distance from you. That's the only thing. You'll thank me later, but that's probably the only thing I would tell you. But if you want to dabble in that, do it and then gradually go into a higher market. And you go into higher markets with higher profits if you exchange, but you only exchange if you hold for a long time.
I like that. And that's excellent advice. I was on the news one time. I had a hot water heater that had gone out in this duplex that I owned. I sent my father-in-law was a plumber. I sent him over there to go and stick a new hot water heater in there. He says, Dane, and this duplex is tiny, 800 total square feet across 2 units, tiny units. And he gets there and he's like, Dane, do you know how many people are here? And he's like, there's like 20 people in this little 400 square foot unit. And I said, yeah, they're dealing meth out of there. I know. We've got to get that figured out. Just put the hot water heater in there and call it a day. I'm aware. And he calls me 30 minutes later. He said, Dane, the police are here. They just kicked me out, so I wasn't able to finish the hot water heater. Maybe you should come down here. So sure enough, I go down. To Berto's point, this is within driving distance, thank goodness, of my house. The DEA is there. There was a big sting. They've been monitoring these guys for months. This was not disclosed to me when I bought the property. And so literally they have this big bust, and I was on the news. So I think that's a great tip.
You feel what I said.
Oh, I
Yeah,
feel it.
no, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And listen, Charlotte, North Carolina, for me is considered cheaper for me than it is in California. But it's a quality in downtown Charlotte, in the surrounding areas of Charlotte or Charlotte. So cheaper doesn't mean. Please don't. It's just It's in relation to you. Please, like, understand that it's less money in relation to you. If you're like these big fund companies out of Beverly Hills, like even an expensive area for 90% of the country is cheap for them. So just make sure you relate to it correctly. But what Dane is really speaking on is the ABC level of asset. You go to a C and a D area, and you end up in a C and a D area. I'm sorry, you're going to find a C and a D property with a C and a D tenant.
Yep.
What you thought was a home run because you completely guessed on your underwriting is going to be a nightmare.
And they do C&D events like smoking
That's
crack.
right. That's right.
Yes.
It's those reasons why, though, Dane, that you had just touched on. And I've gone through that time and time again with all my rental properties, and I've had duplexes, quadplexes. But those are the reasons why now in my journey in life, where I took a step back and go, you know what? I am going to unwind this shit show I created, and I'm going to start placing my money when I do this again with people who are working. This is all they do at a high level, like Cuthberto, right? And because I was building my own portfolio, I was the operator, I was doing my own legwork and grunt work and grind, and it's never been passive. To your point, Cuthberto, never. The only time I've ever experienced passive income ever is crypto. Is the only time I've really experienced passive income. And so, like, now knowing this, when I go and I'm smarter, wiser, going back into real estate in the future, using crypto as the wealth creation, using wealth as the real estate as wealth preservation, it's just gonna be a blessing to know people like yourself. So because of that, because of Dane's crack story, I've gone through that so many times, man. Oh my God, woken up at like 1 a.m. I got to go to my property because something happened. I mean, it's so many times.
I've learned more about dealing drugs and what all that looks like from real estate than anything else. So,
I know you've never even done drugs.
I've never done drugs, right? But
at least I've had my fair
now.
share, right? I've had my fair share in my earlier years. So
right, absolutely. Cool. Crypto Sloth's here. We'll have him on the show. He DM'd me. We've got to figure out a time a little bit later in the day. So I will.
Would love to have you on, Crypto Sloth.
Absolutely. That'd be great. Randy says that he doesn't know real estate, so he's learning to play. Absolutely.
Yeah, Cuthberto, just Randy Hilarski there. He's been very successful in the crypto space. He's kind of a crypto OG, if you will, kind of like Hex right here. And so, yeah, he's interested. He lives out in Panama, which is really cool. And yeah.
I learned a lot of really important information from Randy back in the day. Like during the 2017 spike, I was following him and the stuff he was putting out. He's an OOG.
Yeah. I love that
awesome
guy.
And Crypto Sloth, man, Crypto Sloth is a genius. Especially when it comes to the Hedron part aside.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Crypto Sloth's going to build out in Tetra. I will, because obviously he's big in the Hedron Icosa ecosystem, and I am too, and so is Dane. And so, like, we'll be plugging and playing a lot of his stuff into Tetra ecosystem, and it's just going to be fun for that passive income that we all love, and where we found, true. I guess the only place I've ever found true passive is in crypto. So it's
and I want to define this. I want to define when I talk about passive income, that means your money is making money and you don't do shit. So that's my definition, right? My definition. You see people who make money in real estate, but we're getting paid for our skills that we're providing, a job that we're providing. That's really who the income pays, right? So I just want to make that. And again, if you guys are interested in just knowing about the opportunity, please connect with Dane and Corey first. And then they'll let me know if it's cool to present to you guys. I don't come in here to hawk, guys. I'd love it if you guys are interested in participating, but that's out of respect to the group, because you guys are an ecosystem and a system. I'd love it if you guys let Corey in, because they're basically giving me the platform. And if you guys are down or you guys want to know about passive income, legitimate passive income and working with an operator like myself, I'm more than open. They'll go ahead and let you guys know my info, but I'd love it if you guys, for integrity purposes, let Dane and Corey know that you guys are interested, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Berto. And I'm going to put the banner down here at the bottom. So like we talked about earlier in the show, Corey and I are doing our best to really bridge the gap between the crypto community, real estate. The two just work in tandem so freaking beautifully. We have people like Berto that come into our group that help us do different things to make it super easy and seamless to be able to figure out how to make the transition and reap the benefits of both worlds. So if you want help with that, you can schedule a call with me or Corey. You can check out the link below. And once again, no pressure from us. If it's not for you, that's fine. But if you have the desire to be in a place with like-minded individuals like you see here on this call, then come schedule a free call. I'd love to chat with you about the group. Corey, I've got to jump off to I have a one-on-one with one of our guys, so I've got to jump off if you'll wrap up the show. Berto and Hexray, really appreciate you guys being on. Always a pleasure.
Jump off. We'll just wind it down and have everyone shield where they're at.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Would you start, Hexray, man? Wouldn't you tell them where everyone can find you, the audience, your Twitter, your YouTube, everything you got going on, brother?
Yeah, you can find me under Hexray Vision on most platforms. Sometimes I have to add a 5555 at the end. I think like on Instagram.
I do too, man. I on my YouTube when I created it, I tried doing Corey Geary. I was like, there's another Corey Geary. The way
There's
my
a bunch
name
of them.
I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I had to add it. I added a 5555 at the end. Of course, that worked. I was like, man, who the hell? There's another Corey Geary on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Come follow me there. I'm always trying to do little meetups at local libraries, wherever I can to help, share the knowledge that I've gained. And then my website, hexrayvisioncrypto.com, because I wanted the longest website on earth. That one I'm going to update because I'm doing scavenger hunts with real money where you can break into a wallet and make some real money by helping other people like Dane and yourself. You guys are part of that as well, where I go out and I find goals that you guys have and we try to reach them as a community. And I think we've reached like 3 goals this week. So we're going to be throwing out 3 seed words, which you're not supposed to do, but we're going to be throwing out all those seed words. So if you're the first one to catch all 12 seed words, boom, you're going to go in and take the money out of that wallet.
Oh, that's exciting, man. I love it. And how about yourself, Cuthberto? Or do you create any content on YouTube, or do you have any social medias?
I don't. That's probably where I am. I'm a minimalist. I'm a minimalist by nature. I almost like not nobody ever finding me. Yeah.
That's also why you're a badass operator, is because you put all your focus and time and energy on that one craft, right? You're not a jack of all trades. You're a master of one.
Yeah, I was, bro, and I love it and I respect it, but I've developed a mastery mindset, which is I like to master one. I'm just the guy with the hammer, bro. They didn't bring the saw or nothing. Just give me what to hammer.
I love it.
My cell phone is I don't know if I put it on the comment, or regardless, if you guys want to contact me, my email is very simple. My name, CuthbertoRamos@gmail. I do have that CuthbertoRamos@capitalistmasters.com, but there's no need for me to start spelling, right? But that's probably the easiest way and the best way. And this is not just in this group, Corey. I do want to say that the best way to always connect with me, because I believe in focusing on the 1 and the 2 degree of separation. I like dealing with Corey because he's a 1 degreeer, and Corey will refer me to Hex. That's my 2nd degree. That's it. And that's what been a key to my success in my networking. 1 and 2 degree. I don't need 3, 4, 5, or 6. The whole 6 degrees of separation. If you guys know Corey and I met you through Corey, let Corey know and he'll connect us.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, both of you gentlemen, coming on. I think we need to do this a lot more often, where we have some crypto guys on with some real estate guys, just talking back and forth, because obviously they hear me and Dane's commentary all day long. You guys do. And so it's nice to hear other perspectives. And this has been an absolute blast just for me to listen to you guys. So thank you so much. Hexray, Cuthberto, we'll see you on the next one. And guys, see you later.
Take care, fellas.
Take care.